feel to get out of the house and be back to normal life, if there is normal life?
There isn't really normal life, but it feels good to be done with that. I mean, it was 7 weeks, and it served its purpose. I had a lot of fun with it. It was a good experience, and I feel like, a big part of that show is giving this opportunity to the next level of guys, and I feel like, both Conor and I put in some good work to help the next generation along, and it was fun. Me and Conor had some good banter back and forth. Everybody seemed to enjoy it, and I think we both had fun with it as well.
Did you accomplish what you wanted to with the tough show?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I went in there with a duty, and I did my best. I mean, it wasn't like the last time I coached the show where we get to pick our teams, and I mean, it was kind of like, hey, here's your guys, and here's your guys, and do your best with them. In a 6-week period, I feel like I was able to add a lot to the guys, and I feel like, they made some improvements, but, I was asked to do that, and I accepted, so I feel like I did what I needed to do.
Well, what would be like the surprise of what you didn't expect that, from being on the show that happened?
I don't know if there was any real surprises. I mean, I guess I just got to know Conor and his guys a little bit better, and also this is the first time that I've been in a 6-week period for the show where you're basically looking at these guys fighting every couple of days, every 3 days or so. So it's just a different kind of mentality. It's a different kind of game planning. It's a different kind of training. So I was kind of in a realization that these guys are in a tough situation. So that was kind of surprising.
Talking about Conor, he had a luncheon with the press last week, and he mentioned that both of you guys got along well. He likes you. He even mentioned he'd like maybe even hire you. Did you hear that?
Yeah, he could hire me to spend all my money. He's good at it.
If he hired you, if he could afford you, what would you do for the Conor camp? Like leading up to this Aldo fight?
I'd probably take all his suits and throw them away, buy him some sandals and some shorts, and tell him to save his money. Maybe sell his cars or whatever else dumb things. Stop renting big houses and buy a couple of nice houses. Just more of an advisor would probably be a good role for me.
Financial planner.
Yeah, financial planner. I'll take a large salary.
Let's talk about this fight that he has. How do you think this fight will go with Aldo?
Man, I think that Conor's strongest attribute, aside from being one of the biggest guys in the weight class and having really powerful stand-up, is his self-confidence. But he's dealing with another guy that's been unbeaten in 10 years, who's also very confident, even though it's a quiet confidence. And so I think Aldo's the better fighter. If you look at skill sets, well-roundedness, I think Aldo's a better fighter. But Conor's got that confidence, and I don't know if he's getting in Aldo's head. I'd like to think he's not, because we know Aldo is such a calm, cool, collected guy, but he seems really pissed off, and I don't know how it's going to pan out. I think Aldo has the edge for sure, but Conor's got that chance with the heavy pace and the heavy punch.
Are you surprised that Aldo's underdog?
No, because the betting lines are made by people betting. It changes as people bet. So, I mean, the odd makers make the odds, and then it's adjusted, and there's a whole new generation. It's like a whole new generation of activated MMA fans that weren't there before. That's because of Conor in Ireland and Europe in general. So I think we're seeing that. But I didn't really look at that. I don't look at odds. I don't know what the odds are, but I'm not surprised at anything.
So how are you feeling for your upcoming fight?
I feel really good. I feel my weight is on point. It's always a real struggle to make the 135-pound weight class, especially after being up at the weight above, where I was actively trying to gain weight. So
2 weights above you at one point.
Yeah. No.
Weren't you at lightweight at one point?
I mean, a long time
ago.
A long time ago.
In the beginning.
The very beginning, just because I had to.
Out of necessity.
Yeah. But, so I this is the first time where I gained a bunch of weight and was keeping it on. So coming back down is always a struggle. But I feel good.
Do you see this the IV ban as being an issue with the fighters, and will it make things harder with you?
I don't know. I never used an IV when I fought 145s. It felt fine. I've always used it as a 135 pounder, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. We got plenty of time to recuperate. I've cut weight for years and years and years, so it's not like it's something I haven't done before.
Talking about Jose and how Conor has basically pissed him off, as you said. You spent a lot of time with Conor on tough. You seem to get on pretty well with him. You seem to mesh relatively well. You know, there's a bit of banter going back and forth. I mean, how much did your opinion of Conor change as a result of being on the show with him? Or did it not change at all?
No, it didn't change at all. I mean, Conor's competing against my team. He's close to my weight, etc. I mean, I never had anything against Conor. I said that from a long time ago. I actually jockeyed myself into position beyond that show, saying a few things, etc., and possibly getting a fight. But I always thought Conor was cool. I mean, I like real, and I think that he's real. You know, I like that he says what he feels, etc. So we always got along before then. Also, we had one little exchange right before Chad's fight, which was kind of strange in general, but I think we were comfortable enough to have that exchange where we got a little tussle behind stage. Otherwise, punches could have been thrown. So he's a good guy. But we did have fun hanging out, talking a bunch of draft to each other.
What was the best bit? Was there something a moment that perhaps didn't make it into the show?
Oh, there's all sorts of moments that didn't make it into the show.
Is there one in particular you could share with us? I'll put you on the spot there, sorry.
Yeah. There was a lot of really funny banter back and forth, and they surprisingly got a lot of it, but there's a lot of stuff that didn't go. I told Conor, he was talking about how he's got all this money and everything, and I started calling it the McGregor rule. And so after I won I started always saying the McGregor rule, like, oh yeah, the McGregor rule is the hundreds on the outside, the $1 bills on the inside, and then I won all the money from doing the watermelon drop, and the money that we won was actually hundreds on the bottom and a bunch of ones on the hundreds on the top and ones on the bottom to make it look like a bunch of cash, $10,000, when it's really just a stack of hundreds like that. So they basically did the McGregor rule. And I go, oh my gosh! I go, Conor, look, dude, you put this bundle of money together. It's got the ones on the top and this and that. I also told him that he, I said, make a lot of money. He said, yeah. I said, oh, how's your new house? He's, oh, it's amazing. The house is amazing. It's beautiful. I said, well, are you paying your rent on time? I said it because if you come to California, like you've been talking, I'd be happy to rent you one of my houses. But I'm going to check with your tenant, the guy that owns the house you're living in now, and make sure that you've been paying your rent, keeping the place up, and etc. And he's like, wow, well played. So we had a lot of that kind of stuff that didn't make the show, but they got all his stuff in now.
on the topic of your own fight and your own career, you had the fight with Frankie, but 3 of the other fights have been against fighters who have been ranked quite a way below you. What's the roadmap for you now? Are you obviously before when Barral was at the top of the division, you'd had a couple of goes at him, and it was almost like you were almost put in a holding pattern, if you like, having to take these other fights. Now you got TJ's at the top of the division now. Obviously, it's well documented the stuff that's happened there. Are you now going full speed ahead, trying to get a title shot against TJ?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of took myself off the market, to be honest. And it was like, yeah, all right, twilight years of the career, have some big fights, go up and fight Frankie, maybe try to pick a fight with Conor, that kind of deal. But I kind of took myself off the market for TJ being the champ. And as far as people below me, I've been ranked in the top 4. mostly the top 2 my entire career for 13 years. So every single person that I've fought has been below me. I fought Rafael Souza. I have a win over him. They have him ranked above me because he has a win over TJ. We have Cruz is ranked up there. He has fought once in the last 4 years, and I have a win over him. And arguably could have won the fight against him last time. It was, him scoring some points on trying to do takedowns in the 5th round, in my opinion, that made the difference there. I haven't fought TJ, he's been my teammate. So those are 3 guys that are ranked above me. Everyone else is ranked below me, except for Burrell, but I heard Burrell's going up, and I fought him twice as well. So, I'm always in that situation. But yeah, the future is, we'll be watching TJ and Cruz and go from there.
And
of course I'm getting better. That's the thing about our sport is you don't get worse if you're continuing to improve and continuing to learn. If your body fails you, that's one thing, but as long as you're having an open mind and you're picking people's brains, even on the show, having some of those young guys in there, I watched Juicy J and I liked some of the things that he was doing with being elusive, and I watched rolled with Ryan every single day because he was a high-level jiu-jitsu player and learned a bunch of his sequences. Every day in our gym I've got a new coach, Dominick, who's been showing me some awesome stuff, some traditional Muay Thai stuff and some clinch work. There's a lot of stuff to be learned. Every time I get a chance, I go and train with Charles Cabrera in LA, who's a 7-time world champ and just won Abu Dhabi. And I go for an hour and a half straight with him and pick his brain. I'm always improving, and that's why since the beginning of my career, I've been at the very, very top and had so many opportunities and titles and had the title. So I'm excited about the next few years.
Do you feel that you have an edge that other people might not have if you face your former teammate TJ Dillashaw?
Maybe, I think an edge, yay or nay, I don't think we've actually gone about, or at least I haven't tried to go. When you go in and fight someone, it's a whole lot different than practice. It's a whole different intensity, it's a whole different intention, it's a whole different set of tools that you don't do in a fight. And TJ, to be honest, TJ is a guy that really lost his temper and wasn't very considerate to a lot of the guys on the team, but he was always very respectful of me. So I don't think I've ever seen TJ really try to attack and kill me in a practice, and I know for a fact, and he knows for a fact, that I've never tried to do that to him. So that's one thing, and I do think that TJ will beat Cruz, because I fought Cruz and I've trained with TJ. Cruz is very elusive and he's tricky and he's got a good set of tools, but TJ's got a killer instinct and is just as elusive. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means, but I think TJ will get that W.
Do you think if Cruz hadn't had the injury and been out for so long that he would have the edge over TJ, or you think it's just off of the pure skill of TJ?
I think TJ from the very beginning of being in our camp was, from the get-go when TJ was in camp, he was very, very tough. It wasn't like he would have been a pushover for anyone. And that's when I look at myself as a fighter also. When I look back, because I've been, Fight Pass, you can watch all your old fights, and I went back and watched some of my old fights, and I watched, when I fought Cole Escobedo before the UFC even bought the WEC, the one fight that I fought when they hadn't even owned it, and then I watched my fight against Jens Pulver, and I watched my fight against Mike Brown where I broke my hands, and there's an evolution that is just super, super, super apparent, but it's the same mentality, and I think, I mentioned this with Conor too, I'd rather fight Conor sooner than later if I were anyone, because he's going to get better. He's still got weaknesses, as we saw in his ground game, etc., but there's going to be an evolution, but the mentality and the things that you bring into the fight as a individual that believes they're the baddest person on the planet, that doesn't waver. At least with me it doesn't. It's just adding skill sets. And I've seen it in the progression.